right now, like out of the abundance of safety, the state patrol has asked people not to go to these demonstrations and protests, but it's still going on at our state capitol in St. Paul, and that's where we find our Jennifer Merrily. She's out there live with some of the protesters that are there for this No Kings protest. And Jennifer, are the crowds growing or are people going home?
The crowds are growing, Reg and Susan Elizabeth, and it's because you can see some people walking in, and it's because they have just marched from St. Paul College over here to the Capitol. So this lawn, when we arrived, was a little bit more sparse, and now people are filling in. Hundreds and hundreds of people out here, and many of them holding signs. And I've spoken with people about why they're here. I just spoke with a couple who said, who are in tears, actually, as they spoke to me and said, it is more important than ever to be here today. They said there is an attack on democracy. They shared after the violence overnight, they felt a need to be here with other people to show support for nonviolence. I spoke with a mother and daughter, and I asked the mother, did you think about not coming? They're asking people not to be here. And she said her daughter wanted to come. Her daughter told me that she felt like she had to be here to fight for her future, to think about her future. I spoke with a dad who brought his son with him, who said, we have to think about the next generation. Today is about today, but it's also about the next generation. So we're hearing a lot from people. I spoke with a group of women who used to work here at the Capitol, who knew one of the lawmakers who were shot overnight and could barely speak, and said they felt like this is a place that they needed to be. They know that there's a security risk today, but all the people who we have spoken with who have shown up here today said they need to be here. The organizers spoke a short time ago just letting people know that today will still happen. It'll be a shorter program than what they had intended, but it will be nonviolent, and they want to show people what nonviolence is all about. People have told us that, they're opposing so many different things, but they're opposing the political divide. They're opposing what President Trump stands for, as that's what they've told me today. And when I asked one person, they just said, I'm here because no kings, and that is the name of today's rally. Again, hundreds here filling the state capitol. You can see there up on the steps. That's where the speakers will be talking. People still filling in here. I can see people coming down the street, still marching this way. So more and more people joining this rally here today. Again, many of them knowing what happened overnight and saying we needed to be here even more because of that. And many very emotional. As they're speaking to us, having trouble getting out the words. The feeling here today is somber, but resolute, and people wanting to stand here in solidarity is what they say, and people who are maybe like-minded. We will continue to keep an eye on this. We expect the speeches to start here shortly when most of the marchers have gotten here. And we'll be sure to share what those messages are today as we stand, here just on the green outside the state capitol, where those public servants worked and just finished up the legislative session here just a short time ago with that special session, even more recent. They're standing here outside the state capitol where they had planned to stand, but now even more poignant knowing that two of those public servants were shot overnight in a targeted attack. One of them shot and killed, the other shot and wounded, along with his wife. Reg and Susan Elizabeth, I will send it back to you in the studio as we watch and continue to watch what's going on out here at the state capitol.
Jennifer, one quick question if you got a second. Are you seeing an increased police presence there at the state capitol? I know people were concerned. They had wanted people to stay at home, but I know they had originally planned to increase their police presence. Are you seeing more officers out and about mingling with these demonstrators?
Sure. We've definitely seen officers here. We've seen them at points where they are blocking traffic or guiding traffic around some of the closures in the streets here. But, it's hard to say with how many they were planning to have for a big event like this versus how many there are now as a result of, the violence that happened overnight. But we do see a police presence out here, and we will continue to, monitor all of the events out here as I'm sure they will as well.
And then Jennifer, one thing you touched on a moment ago is you said I thought it was very interesting. You described it as a somber environment, because I think we can think of these rallies as kind of hot and fiery, but that doesn't sound like it's what you're seeing.
No, I mean, you're hearing music, right? So there's music playing. There is some of that. I do see some smiles from people, but the folks that I've spoken with, the second I asked them how they're doing and what they were feeling about what happened, tears immediately. And it's just this different feeling than that I felt from so many of these people. It's somber is the way that I can describe it, at least from the folks that we've spoken with. And then, just resolute in wanting to be here. And so I think there's so many different emotions from the people out here, of people who had planned to be out here, who still decided to come, maybe people who decided to come only because of what's happened. And it's definitely a different feeling than some of the rallies, protests, that I've been to, events that I've been to. So that is definitely something, and we'll see how this continues today. But I know that they have a message that they want to get across, and so many have said democracy is under attack, and they feel even more strongly about being here today after what's happened overnight.